Welcome to Go For Side Effects. I'm your host, Kevin Simon. You all know my co-host, John. John, how are you doing?
Good, brother. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Thank y'all all for joining us tonight. I know we got the presidential election coming up here real soon, and I know everybody's going to want to kind of get to it. But I would like to first start out by reminding y'all that if I've been getting a lot of emails lately, and thank y'all for emailing me. And we did hear the RAC meeting, and which I didn't really think we got very far with anything on that. As far as it goes, to be honest with you, John, I don't really think we got far at all. And so that's the one thing about it is, there's a lot of veterans that have a lot of issues and they feel like nothing's getting done. And so that's why tonight we got, I got 4 segments of the congressional hearing, especially with one of them. He's not in my district. He is in my state. He's the new Congressman, Morgan Luttrell, and he's a Navy SEAL. And that guy cares about vets. And so I was actually able to watch, and I took a few clips out of there, and I want to discuss that tonight. I think it's important. And, you ready for this, John?
I'm ready.
All right, this is going to be the first one, is we're basically almost at the start of it. And y'all can go on YouTube, C-SPAN plays this also, they got reels on this. But I'm going to start off with the first one. Here we go.
I'm very disappointed to see that the VA did not send a witness from the spinal cord injury and disorder or the SCID system. That's what this hearing's about. And for the VA, should have prioritized having someone here from that office that is tasked with helping the veterans and their availability to receive those benefits. And I think it's important that the people in this room, the veterans, as well as the taxpayers and the veterans who are watching this hearing, this is the 3rd time this year where we have been declined by the VA to have the witnesses that we requested. And it doesn't matter whether we're Republican, it doesn't matter whether we're Democrat, it doesn't matter whether the ranking member was, when he was in the majority. It's really upsetting whenever the VA makes decisions to overrule our decision on who we want and accept your judgment over ours. It is the responsibility of this committee to make sure VA takes care of all veterans. It is our responsibility for doing that to give oversight. And we actually do understand who we need to talk to. It is the 3rd time this year that VA has tried to make a decision over this committee on who we need to talk to. That's not fair to the veterans, and it's not fair to the taxpayers. What you need to understand is we are the Congress of the United States. You are an agency. Yes, agency controlled by the administration, but your budget is ours. Our oversight is ours. And we have to do our job for the American people, whether it's a Republican setting here or a Democrat setting here. It is not the job of the VA to decide who's going to sit before us. It is our job to request and your job to deliver. I hope I'm really clear on what I just said.
I agree with that. If they hold the purse, if they hold everything, then fire them. Stop paying them.
Yeah.
3 times that they've asked for specialties, and these are spinal cord doctors, specialists that about what's going on, everything that's happening. So one of the reasons why I wanted to play that first is to let everybody out there know, in our realm, where there's a storm, at least Congress is trying. The VA needs to provide it. That's that's exactly how I feel about it. You got anything to add?
Well, no, I agree. And the oversight, I often chuckle when, if we need an oversight for the oversight committee, and why wouldn't you allow somebody, a specialist, to come in and communicate to the VA? Is it because they're recording and they don't want they don't want somebody who knows the open and honest truth to give that information forward because they want to cover it up with some political rhetoric?
Right.
And that's always political rhetoric is a huge problem within the VA. The VA, its sole purpose in life is to help those of us, all of us veterans that have issues. That's why they have a job, period, end of story. It's that simple.
And I'm going to say this, is that taxpayers are paying for it and taxpayers are getting frustrated with it. We're seeing it more and more. And so this is why I want to go to the second one. If that, I'm not trying to ruffle feathers. I'm trying to make y'all understand what is going on inside the VA. So here's the next clip.
How long have you been with the VA?
I've almost been with VA 30 years.
30 years, 26 years, Mr. Yendi?
About a decade.
10 years? Mr. Board?
30 years.
30 years. How many of those reports have you read from the IG? Every one of them?
Yes.
Collectively, you're over 100 and some odd years of experience in the VA, and the report has not changed in decades. I think we need to take a hard look in the mirror.
Thank you, Mr. Luttrell. I'd just like to sum something up. You guys, the four of you have over 100 years of experience in the Veterans Administration, and nothing's going to change until one of you get fired.
How long have you?
And that's right. And the reports are what we're about to do now. The reports that are about to come out and I'm about to talk to y'all about it, on here is important to me, and I think should be important to everybody. And with 100 years of experience, they're talking about VA police chiefs. They're talking, the police department. They're talking about the spinal cord. They're trying to get information on what is going on so veterans can get the most help that they can get. And that's exactly what this oversight. And I'm actually glad, that Democrats and Republicans are coming together, on this, but they need to do a little bit more. Cut the purse strings, stop paying the people. And to let all y'all know, I was on RAC on the call. Jason will confirm this. I invited RAC to come on to the show just to have questions, answer questions. And I hope that they would. I hope that they'll come on here and talk to us, and kind of, because I couldn't hear a lot of it. And so being on this program, they could really talk and explain what they're doing between the anthrax shot, the PTABs, and all that stuff.
And those people that don't know what RAC, a War-Related Injury and Illness Center, is what he's referencing. And yes, the gentleman who had asked the question in that audio that Kevin played, that was Morgan Luttrell. He is, or was, a Navy SEAL. And, we all know that just because there's a lot of, he said 100 years of combined experience, but we all know just because you have a lot of time behind the seat doesn't mean that you're good at it. Somebody kept you in that seat. Why? What was the rationale? Are you that good at your job? Are they scared of losing their job if they let you go, or repercussions? So there's a lot of political BS. But yeah, if you're not doing your job, like he said, y'all need to take a hard look at what's going on. And it's people like a fellow veteran like Morgan Luttrell say, hey, put your heads out of your ass. Let's get something done. If I did my job like yours, guess what? I wouldn't have a damn job, or I'd be dead.
That's right. I agree. I mean, and so this is the next part that's going to start ruffling feathers that I really think is important. But we need to play this so people understand what is going on with the VA and the administration side. And so here goes the next clip.
So the Director of Continuous Care and General Health makes around $300,000 a year, all right? And the CSI was $76-ish thousand that was paid out. Now, here's my problem. So what was the suicide rate at last year for veterans?
We had more than 6,500 suicides, so I don't remember the rate.
The numbers are continuously going up. They're not decreasing.
They had been going down, I think.
They went down
last
in
year.
20,
Yeah.
but they jumped back up.
Right.
We had this conversation.
Correct.
So
Correct.
the system itself is failing. I don't have a problem saying it. The system itself is absolutely failing our veterans. And I don't walk away from the challenges of emotional distress and cognitive instabilities. I don't. It's a very hard pulse to catch.
Yeah.
But the executive director for suicide prevention received almost 50,000 in CSI. The deputy director for field support and analytics, which has been in office since 2016, got $48,000. And then the deputy director received almost $50,000. Now, I'm pretty sure you probably yanked all this back, but my point is we just rewarded these people for failure.
So, look,
I'm sure, you're gonna try to explain this to me, that's.
I get it, and I guess I want to say the following, which is all the CSIs that went to senior executives have been taken back.
Okay, thank you.
2, though the people in these jobs are people, not every one of them, and that was my point earlier, which is that you cannot read the statute and say that this was an acceptable use of that statute. However, there are people with very critically important skills to veterans. A senior psychologist who's dedicated his life to taking care of these guys.
I'm tracking that
And so-
100%, Mr. Secretary,
right,
but I'm going to argue with you all day long. If the numbers continue to go up over the decade after decade, that particular individual is not doing a good enough job for our veterans. And giving them bonus money for that is a slap in the proverbial face of all the veterans walking around outside and the families that are left behind, period.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
So
well,
suicide rate is going up. I did look at the statistics on that, and it is going up. It started going down to 18. It's up now to 19, going up to 20. That's just people that the VA keeps track of. It's not the veterans out there that are not inside the VA. So let's make that clear.
Right. And just one quick note, so people, because Morgan was using CSI critical skills incentive, a bonus. So everybody understands that. Go ahead, Kev.
And just to let everybody know, they gave back 92% of the money because Congress made them give it back.
92. That should have been 100%. Give
They
it back.
should
Why
be
are we-
100%.
Why are they getting bonuses? I
Right.
don't understand.
They're using veteran money.
Yes.
That could go for a whole lot more. Like,
Yeah.
total body oxygen and go for all that stuff.
I'm totally against bonuses to the VA. You have a federal job. You're getting paid really well. You're there because to help the veterans out, and the veterans. You look at the damn pay chart for an enlisted person, and you're given this. I don't know if you have. You have the clip on there about the amount of money they give for versus what a senior enlisted person gets on retirement? Do you have
Exactly.
that? Clip or no?
It's the average retirement salary of a E7 that has served their country in training in peacetime and combat over 20 years.
I don't know that information.
I do. The answer is $34,810. So an E7 that has served their country for over 20 years will receive a pension of $34,810. If I look at tab 1 here, every single one of these bonuses exceeds that by at least $13,000. And if I look at this tab here, this one, and I go all the way down, right? Every single one of these bonuses exceeds an E7 who served their country in combat's retirement. The lowest one you got here is $38,584. That E7's retirement, male, female, doesn't matter who they are, $34,810. Okay. Could you agree that something is wrong here?
Our report found lots of things that were wrong.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, I just want to make sure that this is cleared up, because I spoke to Secretary Inhofe last night and today. I spoke to the Secretary today. And you're not really the person I want to talk to. I want to talk to the Secretary personally and publicly.
The smallest bonus that they give was more than an E7 that spent 20 years in the United States military retirement every year. I cannot fathom why. I cannot. I mean, I'm telling you right now, E6 doesn't make a whole lot. It's things like $1,200 a month. I mean, so you think about how little they're getting. And then these guys are making, $50,000, $60,000 a year. Some are making $300,000 a year, and they're getting big ass bonuses. It's just wrong. It is totally wrong. I disagree with it.
I understand that we as veterans need the best possible help for a lot, whether it's mental or otherwise issues. I understand it. And I also understand, and Morgan, you agree, you're not likely, the suicide rate is because the individuals aren't getting the help, because we know, Kevin, you and I have talked, we have used the hotlines to get ourselves help.
Right.
But you have to advocate yourself. And unfortunately, the auto brothers and sisters out there getting such in the dumps, there's nobody close by to ask or get the help. So some of those it's not a perfect system, unfortunately. But bonuses, bullshit. Bonuses, hell no. Nobody in the VA should be getting a bonus. Why?
Put me in charge of the VA.
Yeah.
You just give me an income of $80,000 a year. I'll be in charge of the VA. I'll straighten this crap up, and we won't have this problem. I'll let them invite anybody they want over there to go talk to Congress about what's going on. I'll just do it. And so this is where I want to get into the next clip, because this is the hardest one. And me and John have been talking about this, but this is about red flag laws. And so y'all might want to pay real close attention to this. All right, here we go.
What's the average retirement salary of a E7 that has served their country in training, in peacetime, and combat over 20 years?
I don't know that information.
I do. The answer is $34,810. So an E7 that has served their country for over 20 years will receive a pension of $34,810. If I look at tab 1 here, every single one of these bonuses exceeds that by at least $13,000. And if I look at this tab here, Swan, I go all the way down, right? Every single one of these bonuses exceeds an E7 who served their country in combat's retirement. The lowest one you got here is $38,584. That E7's retirement, male, female, doesn't matter who they are, $34,810. Okay. Could you agree that something is wrong here?
Our report found lots of things that were wrong.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, I just want to make sure that this is cleared up, because I spoke to Secretary Inhofe last night and today. I spoke to the Secretary today. And you're not really the person I want to talk to. I want to talk to the Secretary.
Okay, that was E7. I forgot about that. I had that one was next. But yeah, ain't that ridiculous? That's the most craziest thing I've ever heard in my lifetime. Craziest. And so I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's just weird. It's very weird to me.
I mean, I know in the civilian sector, people get bonuses in a lot of corporations, most corporations. I guess, civilian sector. But these people are being paid from the Veterans Administration, okay? And we have homeless people, we have veterans in need, and you want to hide the monies in a PACT Act or something way down there where you're hoping that people don't see it. And then when it's acknowledged, they step back like, oh shit, we got caught. I mean,
Right.
it's a problem. There should be no bonuses. And I'm like, Morgan, I'm like, let's go. Because there's nothing you can tell me that's going to acknowledge the fact that a VA personnel, I don't care how good they are at a job, if they have a doctorate degree, what it is, kudos to them. But I'm not going to give you a bonus on top of what you're already making, because that money should go to veterans for whatever that. No, not to pad your pocket because you're doing a good job. A thank you, a good letter of recommendation for something else, but not a bonus. Not coming out. No, hell no. No, not a bonus. Yeah, that kind of lights me up a little bit.
Well, it should. It really should. And to me, this is what's important. This is what's important. What are the guys and girls out there that serve 20 years, that become disabled, and everything? They got everybody's got to fight for it. And you know what? I'm talking about people who are, really bad off. That like we were talking earlier about the guy with Mike with the hip and everything. We help fighting for 10 years. I don't get it. He fell 35 feet off of a repelling station. Is that what y'all call it, platform?
Yes.
And I don't
Yeah.
would want to do that. I'm really sorry that anybody would want to do something like that. And
Well,
so
I mean, it's I think every veteran listening, every veteran out there would agree. Even if that veteran is working for the VA, they'd probably say, hey, listen, I would love extra money, but I understand that's not right. Not when I'm already working. I'm here to work for the veterans. I'm one of them. If that person's a veteran, let's put that money to better use. If I want, I mean, it's not I don't know why that's a hard sell,
Right. I don't know why that's a hard sell neither. And I'm getting up the last video. I have no idea why in the heck it is not in my system, but I believe this is it.
All right. How long have you been with the VA?
I've almost been with VA 30 years.
30 years, 26 years, Mr. Yendi?
We heard this one,
10
didn't
years.
we?
We did. Yep.
And so, well, Morgan Luttrell, he gets on there and he talks to him. I don't know where the video is. They may have taken it down because it was about red flag laws. So let me tell you about red flag laws. The VA is now, if you go into counseling, you file for PTSD, and you have situations that are going on. And in his district is where I live. And apparently, the VA is going out, knock on their doors, and asking for people's guns. They're turning them in, saying that they have a situation, and which I agree. If somebody wants to hurt themselves or feel like hurting somebody else, take them away, and that's what needs to be done until we can get them, all the help that we can get them. But look at the situation I was in. They messed up my medicine. Yes, what did I go crazy and everything else? Call the crisis hotline. That could have happened to me. And so, red flag laws to me are very sticky. But we did some statistics that all y'all should listen to, and I want John to talk about that.
Well, I mean, okay, so we talked a little bit about so mass shootings. We brought up mass shootings. Would that be a time when a red flag law should have been implemented if you knew in advance?
Yes.
Like, what would they say? So, 64.5% of individuals who do these mass shootings have a history of violence. 31% had military training, and I'm surprised it wasn't a little higher than that on mass shootings, because I mean, mass shootings, you can't, there's no way you could put, I mean, it's a horrible thing, and it is because of mental problems. Red flag laws, I mean, Iowa, so the state I live in, is one of 31 states that does not have a red flag law. And people are like, what is exactly a red flag? A red flag law is this: a judge can order for the police to go in and temporarily remove, handguns, shotguns, weapons, until a person, and then after a time frame, it would be returned. Okay, so on a positive note, when we hear of a horrible thing like a mass shooting, my goodness, I mean, I don't care if it's 2, 3, 300. It's a horrible event. People, with mental illness went out and killed people. Okay, it's a terrible thing, and you can't always please everybody, because some people, there shouldn't be a red flag law. Other people's are, like you said, it's a sticky situation. It's a Second Amendment and a Fourth Amendment issue. So Second Amendment, right to bear arms. Fourth Amendment is the unlawful search and seizure of your weapons. But wait a second, could I have prevented somebody? A judge has got to look at this in an unbiased way. Can I take the harmful stuff away from this person? Yes, and then at a later date, when that person is no longer considered a harm to themselves or other, give that stuff back.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with that. I 110% agree that if they go into the VA, or even if they go to any mental psychiatrist or anything like that, counseling, and they say they want to hurt themselves, they should. The police should go out there and at least talk to them, see if they're calm, check their emotional state. But with that also being said, you got to look at all possibilities of any way that anybody can hurt somebody. Not just with, guns, not just with knives,
Right.
not just baseball bats.
Right.
I mean, mental health in this country is really bad. And
Yes.
a lot of people don't want to take medicine because they think it harms their body, which I agree. I think it hurts your body,
Yeah.
but I have to do it so I can walk. I'm just asking, if anybody has a problem, call the crisis hotline, talk to them, let them calm you down. That's the last part I'm going to say about the red flag log, but I do want to add something. So I know that each and every veteran out there that gets on these platforms and they sit there and they type, people get answers. We still need to connect a little bit better, because inside the RAC meeting, I didn't feel like any of us were connecting, because there was one guy, his name, I'm not even going to tell you, but I tell you what, I listened to him, and as soon as I say this, anybody who's listening to this right now that was in the RAC meeting did not have a dry eye. The way he was being treated by the VA was the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. Bedridden, had all kinds of, John, you couldn't even imagine. I'm grateful for how I am now. At listening to him, it broke my damn heart. And I'm hoping that we can get him on the show. I guess I will say his name is Miguel. I don't know his last name. I hope that he was on, I hope he listens to this. I hope somebody who knows him listens to this. He needs to come on here. He needs to tell a story, because that was the most heartbreaking, gut-wrench story I've ever heard in my lifetime. It literally broke my heart. And I mean, there were a lot of people giving out their phone numbers, telling them, hey, call this and call that. And I thought that was great on the connecting part. But I felt bad because I didn't go into the next one going, hey, Miguel, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. I want to apologize and then get into my story. He should have. his story, Rack needs to put it out there. And that's why I played this tonight. You know, me and John were talking about it. We know it's controversial and all this stuff about red flag laws, but think of the money that's being spent inside the VA. And the VA, has it improved? By golly, it's improved 1,000% from the early 90s till now. But it's got a lot more. The administration part needs to talk to the hospital part. That's if they can communicate, man, the VA could be golden. That's why I want to run it.
No, and communication is key. You and I, we do this podcast, communicate. It's all about communication to one another. And what we share with one another, with our viewers, you know, I saw it before we went on live, and I think this is phenomenal. You and I will give out any information we can to a fellow vet or to a family member to help a fellow vet. Here, do this to get things going. Here, use this attorney, go do this. And we have a sister, Army sister, who is using an attorney that I use and is in getting things done. I was like, I heard that today from her. She texted me. I'm like, oh, that is awesome. I love it. It's basic communication. Hey, where do I go to get some assistance? Because this isn't happening, you know?
Right.
And then boom, you give them. There you go.
And me and John don't have all the answers. I promise y'all that.
No,
Because
no.
we brainstorm, we ask questions to other vets, we read other stuff. We don't have all we have is each other and our listeners, our friends out there. We made a lot of really good friends, and I think it's important that we all still stay connected with each other. I got shipmates I stay in connection with. I was talking to one before we came on the show, and I mean,
Great gal. She's super nice.
I can tell each and every one of y'all, family, friends, church life, for me, you know, God, everything. It's just, to me, that's exactly what I have in my life. And I wish everybody else will have that. And I mean, anybody wants to contact us, get us at kevinsimon@goforcesideffects.com. You can also send a message through Messenger. And thank each and every one of y'all. Go check out our pages on Patreon. And Patreon, we do after shows. They're freaking hilarious. A lot of times we don't talk about this stuff. We get more into a lot of crazy stuff, but it's fun. It is really fun. And y'all go check that out. It's just $1 a month. We help buy patches, send it off to vets. And so I want to thank each and every one of y'all tonight for listening. And we will see you next week, and enjoy the presidential election.